Welcome to the Aerialist Starter Toolkit. I hope that you have had the time to look through the app and already had a look to get acquainted with the program. I'm just going to go through the different bits and pieces of the program to make sure that you understand everything that you have to go through week in, week out for the entire duration of the program. So I'm very excited because this program is really designed for you to progress week by week and just understand as well how far you can push yourself as you go along. So during week one, the workouts will seem pretty easy and the exercises will seem quite simple. However, even if you look at the tutorial and then have a look at how easy the exercises are, you are able to superset your exercises, which means bring them together or bring them all together into what we call the giant set. This means that rather than do the exercises separately, you start linking up your exercises together, and this way you get less rest and you make it more challenging for yourself. You can also increase the amount of repetitions and the amount of set that you repeat. So this means, by a sense, that if you found that the amount of set assigned in the app right now are too easy, you can then add one set, you can add more repetitions, or you can also take less rest. And this is how we calculate progressive overload as well over the next few weeks. It's not just having harder or more complex exercises, it's also just increasing the load by small increments. The next thing that I want to just to approach is how the weeks are going to go. The week one is just getting you acquainted with how the program works. So you are just going to make sure that the exercises are suitable for you, that you understand them, and that you understand how the program works, how you follow a workout. Obviously, if anything feels a little bit daunting or confusing to you, I'm just a message away directly from the app. Second, when we move on to the next few weeks, the load is going to start getting harder. The exercises might get slightly more complex as well. So in week two, we observe a model of AMRAP, which means as many rounds as possible. So again, in the as many rounds as possible, we proceed with doing the exercises in a circuit style, like a giant set, like I explained earlier, which means you are going to bring all the exercises together. You're going to do them back to back, take a short break, and then resume another round. Now, again, the same thing. I've applied a certain amount of time, which is between 8 minutes to 12 minutes. It's up to you. If you are short on time and you are just completing this after a workout and maybe you are just going to be able to do a 5-minute AMRAP, or if you do this in isolation and want to do a 20 minutes. Quite frankly, I don't see myself doing 20 minutes of conditioning, but then it's up to you, all right? So week one, week two, week three, week four, week five, week six, we'll kind of observe the same pattern. Week one, week three, and week five, we'll just have your regular superset or tri-set style workouts, just to make sure that you understand the exercises. And then week two, week four, and week six will be the same exercises performed in an AMRAP. Week 7 and week 8 are going to be a bit different. Week 7, we implement a system of 20 reps, which means we're not going to do a set. We are just going to try to repeat the exercise just for 20 repetitions and then move on to the next exercise. In week 7, I've stopped giving you tutorials because 6 weeks should be enough of you having coaching just to understand what you're meant to be doing in terms of shoulder engagement, core engagement, and so on. So in week 7, I've implemented different exercises for you to explore and see a little bit how things go with you. So week 7, we do this 20 repetition workout. You have 2 different workouts. And finally, in week 8, we perform an EMOM. And an EMOM is every minute on the minute. So we've done 2 blocks of the EMOM. So that means that you have a substantial amount of exercises to complete. They're blocked into 2 circuits, and you have to repeat every minute on the minute. So this means you're going to do a minute of one exercise, a minute of another exercise, a minute of another exercise, and so on. The aim is to have a certain amount of repetitions, but you also want to keep the technique correct. So I always laugh because in CrossFit, every minute on the minute means you need to pack in the volume. And granted, it's good to add volume because that's what happens as well in progressive overload. In this situation, we still want to make sure we do the repetitions well. And as someone who strives CrossFit, I was a bit frustrated with EMOM exercises because I was a little bit too slow. But that might happen with you. But if you can increase the volume when you practice the exercises, then so be it. And so it is great. Maybe your first round of EMOM will feel like a little bit slower, and then as you move along and get a bit more energy, you can start performing more repetition on the minute. So this is how the 8-week program I've assigned in terms of strength and conditioning. They'll all require minimum equipment. You will still need a bit of equipment for some of the flexibility and mobility exercises. Okay. For the conditioning, this is kind of body weight to start. And if you at one point also are part of a gym and want to use gym programs, in the bonuses you will find gym programs as well. And they're all targeted to help you with aerial skills. In the future, once you finish this program, there will be another program available to amp up that strength, amp up the skills, and with new drills that will be more including gym workouts as well. It's a program that I'm currently working on already, a program that I'm actually experiencing myself to see how it can work with you as an intermediate to advanced practice student. So for the flexibility and mobility, lastly, I just want to say I have not programmed them in the app because there are different types of ways to practice your flexibility. The first one is to just slowly increment an extra bit of time before your workout or your aerial class. It's quite important, I think, that you learn the principle of habit stacking. And that's why as well, the conditioning are made to be quite short. You want to try and implement something that's already part of your routine, because otherwise it can feel quite overwhelming to just bring big things into your life. You want to start making it easy for you to stack something on top of something you're already doing, and something that will not be overwhelming in terms of taking your time commitment or anything too much away from your current life. So flexibility and mobility will approach the same principles, and we are going to work from the list of the on-demand videos that I've created over the last few years. Some of the videos are going to be just tutorials. So tutorials for activations, which are preferably performed before a workout or before class. You have a series of tutorials for stretches, and those are tutorials. That means not really follow along. They're just tutorials for you to learn how to do the moves. And then it's up to you to integrate between 2 and 5 minutes before or after your practice. Those can also be combined together into one single practice of like 5-10 minutes. The next ones are also follow along videos of mobility, which will range between like 10 minutes to full contortion class of 45 minutes to over an hour classes. So those are a bit more for the advanced people. And this is why also I didn't want to program, because some of you might already have a fairly advanced flexibility practice, or some of you might be just at the beginning. So for this, it's up to you to go in the video and explore what suits you, and then select, and you can actually log that video as a workout as well. So this way, it will always come back to me as something that you have practiced. You aim to practice your flexibility and mobility the same amount of time you do your conditioning, which is a minimum of twice. But with flexibility, the more the better. Or don't overload your schedule, don't overload your training. Remember to keep it sustainable, and I can't wait to see what you're up to. I'll see you in there.